I think so many times business owners find themselves held hostage by their business. They feel trapped by their business. They feel that if I just work tonight, I'll be able to finish this up. But then that happens the next night and the next night and the next night. Yeah. Burnout is so common.
Having a leader who cares about their own soul means that they care about the people they work for.
I've had those moments where I've lost my purpose. I've not put my health first. I've not made it important. I've lost my way a little bit.
The power of pausing. And I mean a pause like quarterly to get away and really take like a day away, maybe twice a year. I'm talking big pauses, but also even the small pauses.
Okay.
What will happen with regular practice of this pause is that the benefit will become so strong that as leaders, we'll end up saying, I can't not do this.
Right.
Because I mean, the first rule of leadership, the first person we're leading is ourselves.
100%. Yeah.
I just would want to remind people that like, it's not just the business you that's leading these people. It's actually all of you. We have to use all three centers to make good decisions, to process through situations.
Yep.
They are not isolated to just this. It's that your purpose is not the thing you do. It's what happens in other people when you do what you do.
Oh, I do love that. Yes. Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's launchpad to sustain business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas. I am your host, and today we are going to be talking about why leaders need to take time to pause, to reassess, realign, reflect. I'm so excited today to have Jen Stanley joining us today. Jen is an ICF certified life coach and Enneagram expert who helps people see the hidden patterns shaping their lives and relationships. Drawing on years of experience guiding teams and individuals, she brings fresh insights and practical tools that spark aha moments and lasting growth. Whether leading a workshop, a cohort, a keynote, Jen weaves wisdom and story to inspire authentic leadership, connection, and change. She's a former theater performer turned coach. She loves helping others step into their own story with clarity and confidence. Jen, thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot wait to talk to you about this topic.
Yeah, thank you.
So I also heard that you also were a performer, a musical performer. What's your instrument?
Yeah, so theater kid, musical artist. My primary instrument was my voice. So I'm a singer.
Well, yes, I love it.
Yeah, and I play enough piano to just get by and teach myself things, but not well enough to like be in a cool band or anything.
You know, fun fact, so I play piano. Yeah, so my degree is in music therapy initially. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then transferred into the HVAC world of business and everything much later on. So help us understand your transition. You had 15 years in performance, theater, music.
Yeah.
How did you transition into coaching that you do today?
So the reason that I needed to, or I felt like it was time for something new is because I was going out on these gigs or doing these shows and all I wanted to be was at home with my family. And
and it's a demanding schedule, I would imagine.
It is, because it requires weekends. I mean, most musicians make their living Thursday through Sunday, whether you're doing gigs in jazz clubs, at wedding receptions, or if you're in the church. I mean, just musicians.
It's all weekends.
It's a weekend job. Yeah. And so I realized it was time to retire from that at, like 31 years old or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is the rest of my life going to look like now? That is all I had done. It was my passion. It was all I had poured everything into being a musician. And so I kind of pretty early felt like I had this moment where I had to really make a new life choice. And it was pretty scary and unnerving. And
I'm sure
a lot of imposter syndrome, like coming out of
we've all been there. Yes, we've all been there. So how long did you, as far as training and certifications and things like that with life coaching and with the Enneagram training and everything that you've had, like what did that time period look like for you?
Yeah, so it came a little later. I went from music into sales, and I was really pretty good at sales.
You're a people person too.
I'm a people person. And that's what they would ask me. I would say, well, I like the product, but I love the people. And I think that's what made me good at sales was I liked the product, but I loved the people.
Yeah.
And from there, I just kept being so drawn into the people business. And I had some leadership roles and some positions like that. So 5 years ago, almost 6 now, right before the pandemic hit, I started in on certifications for coaching, really getting deep back into Enneagram as a specialist.
Right.
And so it's been over the last 5 years that I've
And what
been in this
timing
field.
around everything in 2020 and everybody's world got flipped upside down and, life got really hard on top of being hard anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so that is crazy timing for that too.
Yeah, it was good timing. And I think it was good timing also in the fact that I've been able to help people navigate through the new world that was post-pandemic
Yeah. We talk everything is before COVID or after COVID. I still do that to this day, right?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about leaders, our business owners and our leaders and everything. Life is hard. Life is stressful. Life is demanding. We are servants to everybody besides ourselves. And that's part of, I always say too, I was like, we're selling ourselves to our employees, to our team, right? To our clients. And we're working on building and going and going. One of the things, I was on your website, Living Well by Jen. And I read in there, I've been in your shoes. I've had those moments where and it's not verbatim, but the gist of what I read was I've had those moments where I've lost my purpose. I've not put my health first. I've not made it important. I've lost my way a little bit. And I love that. That really connected with me because as a business owner, I felt like that before. So how do we get to a place to where we can serve ourselves along with all of the people that we serve every day? Yeah,
man, this is such a
loaded question.
A good question. And I think it's one we're always asking ourselves as leaders. But I have found that the power of pausing, and I mean a pause like quarterly to get away and really take like a day away, maybe twice a year. I'm talking big pauses, but also even the small pauses make such a huge difference when it comes to leading from a place of groundedness and stability and authenticity and not just letting like the momentum carry us away.
Right. So or the anxiety. Sometimes we can thrive. Last episode, my husband and I were talking about planning to use your time productively. And he talked a lot about when he doesn't plan, he's very anxious and it drives chaos and fires and everything else.
Yeah. So I think that when we as leaders fail to pause, fail to realign ourselves, with our authentic, true, grounded selves, we run a few risks. And the risks that I see are that we're going to lead from a place of ego rather than essence. We're going to lead from a place of productivity instead of purpose. And then also a place of, I call it, again, theater kid reference right here, but like being an audience member of your life instead of an author. So kind of, we're just watching it happen instead of jumping in and being a co-author of the story that we're living.
Oh, I love that.
So those are the 3 risks I think three of probably many, but those are 3 things I think we risk when we don't take a moment to pause for that realignment.
It's crazy because I think most business owners would say to you, I don't have time I don't even have enough time to get my work done and be at my kids' basketball game and to go to church on Sunday and to do this. Like, how do you find the time to do that? How do you get into a mindset to make that a priority?
At first, it's total leap of faith because it is not going to feel natural to jump out of your list that is way too long and to stop doing something that feels really, really urgent in order to do something that's really, really important. It's just not going to feel natural. So at first it's going to be, maybe setting up an accountability. If you have a friend or a coach or a spouse or somebody that can kind of accountability to each other that we're going to do this, even though it's not going to feel good at first.
You might even feel guilty.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah. That's what I think that we as business owners struggle with the most, is feeling guilty of like, I don't have time to like take off, because that's what it is like, I'm taking off when I have all this to do.
Right. And you might feel anxious, like, well, how can I spend time doing something over here when I should be doing this? I mean, there's just so many things. But what will happen with regular practice of this pause is that the benefit will become so strong that as leaders, will end up saying, I can't not do this.
Right.
I must do this in order to lead my organization well, to lead myself well. Because I mean, the first rule of leadership, the first person we're leading is ourselves.
100%.
Yeah. So if we're skipping this, it's going to show. And so once we experience it a few times, I think we'll go, wow, I can't afford not to do it.
Do you think it's beneficial to schedule these pauses in? Like, do you actually plan for them and schedule them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Just so the big ones. Yes.
Yeah.
Whether that's quarterly. Again,
are we talking about a vacation? It's not, there's more purpose to it. It's not vacation,
no,
right? Okay.
It's not a vacation, but it is a stepping away.
Okay.
And so probably not in your office, not in your home. Maybe it's renting a private office in a co-working space one day, or it's going to a retreat center for a day where they offer just, a place to go for a day. There's several in Indianapolis that I
what's
really
interesting?
enjoy.
This made me think of it, and I love it because I was like, this was totally a pause that I did. And so a few years ago, we were in a place working on our business, and I just felt like I'm just about to lose it, right? And I went to a little place on Lake Monroe, and I rented a room there in that hotel. And I remember I told my husband, I was like, I need to go. And he was like, go where? And I was like, I don't know. I just need to go for a couple of days. And I did. And I took books with me. I didn't watch any TV. I was completely by myself, no phone.
That's what I'm talking
amazing.
about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so, of course, I do think you have to plan for that.
Oh, 100%,
and it doesn't have to be 2 days. Maybe once a year.
Yeah.
It should be overnight. It should be extended. But even if you were able to quarterly do a day or a half day or 3/4 of a day,
is
that
an
will make
hour
a huge
enough,
difference.
or we really need to be looking at more than an hour or something?
I think we're talking about the big pause and the little pauses. So the bigger ones that are more regularly scheduled in the calendar, as far as whether it's quarterly, twice a year, yearly, really bigger.
Sure, yeah.
But daily, of course, I think a daily pause is huge. And I don't know that it needs to be an hour.
Sure.
But something to go, okay, am I being intentional? Am I aligned in my work and in my purpose and in my relationships today?
Yeah.
What does that look like today? So that's like a daily pause that I think is important. And then, of course, in my work with the Enneagram and helping people identify patterns that are maybe sabotaging them, the first thing that we teach is like, wait, now before you hit that reaction button, could you just take a breath pause,
right,
to formulate a new reaction or a new response.
A response instead of a reaction.
Instead of a
response
reaction.
that you're in control of, right? And maybe we've even thought of what outcome we want first, right? And we're going to respond accordingly before we just
go to the reaction mode. Yeah. So like there's like the micro pauses. There's probably the daily intention pause. What that looks like to fill up your soul at the beginning of the day for you. And then there's the big ones. Yeah.
So what do we do in this pause? Like, how do we make it? And productive is probably not the right word, right? I'm always very business mindset. Something that I keep hearing is you're looking at the whole self. So yes, business, but we're also talking about personally and our emotions and our, you know what I mean? All of the things too. How do you get out of like that everything's business all the time to really make a true pause? I can't think of how I want to say it. Be beneficial or productive.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm saying. Like,
I do.
What do you do in a pause?
Yeah. Right.
I know.
I totally understand this question.
Because I think sometimes if we don't, for me, if I don't know, all I'm doing is if I stop for a minute, sometimes I get sidetracked with thinking about all the things I have to do.
Right.
And it's not, I run into that if I try to meditate sometimes, I want to meditate and I want to be here. and I want to have mindfulness, but I'm thinking about my to-do list instead.
100%.
Yes.
I get this way as well. So first of all, I just back to something you said about the pause being for the whole person. And sometimes it's so hard to shift out of business mode or leader mode. And I just would want to remind people that like, it's not just the business you that's leading these people. It's actually all of you. So you don't actually get to leave that part of you out of the equation because it's
I forget that.
Yeah.
I forget people are seeing me, not just, they're seeing me and where I am, not just.
Yeah. And even if you think you've kind of left her at home and now I'm business owner, Renee, that's not how it works. Like,
I'm super guilty of that though. Like, as I sit here and I reflect on that, I always think, because my thing, I learned this a long time ago, is like, once your hand hits the doorknob, smile, it's game on, right? So I always think of that. It's like, okay, whatever's here or whatever I'm feeling here, like it stays there.
Yeah.
And I go in with like, that smile on my face and a go. But, I will say that I'm a pretty direct person anyway, and I'm probably a little more clipped or a little shorter than what maybe I intend to be or something if I've got a lot going on over here.
Yeah, because I mean, if you just think about it, we've been trained like, just leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Like that is a very common training thing, and but it just isn't actually possible to do.
Okay.
It's within you. And so this is why the pause is productive for your business, but it also has to be productive for your soul because your soul is part of your business.
Sure.
So how to make it beneficial? Well, okay. I think there are like 4 most important questions in life.
Okay. That's
ready?
great. Yes.
They're pretty, I'm not going to surprise you with them.
Number 1.
Who am I?
Okay. Who am I?
Number 2.
Okay.
Why am I here? Why am I walking the planet?
These are deep.
Yeah.
Okay. Who am I? Why am I here?
Right. What am I going to do with the rest of my days? I know.
Okay.
And then 4th, with whom do I want to spend my life with?
That can be a scary
Those are
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it taps into identity. Who am I?
Yep.
Why am I here? Taps into purpose. What will I do with the rest of my days? Just taps into intention, like not just knowing that the purpose is there, but like really being intentional, going from this day forward kind of thing. And then with whom is just all about the fact that relationships are what make life sweet.
Yes.
And so without
brings so much meaning. Yeah.
Yes. The Harvard study that is so famous that said they studied happiness for 4 decades and it came down to relationships.
Yeah.
And so anyway, those are the 4 questions. And as I would encourage a pause, it would be going in kind of with those 4 categories. And on the identity piece, who am I? This is where you get to practice non-judgmental observation, which is one of my favorite terms that we use in the Enneagram world. Non-judgmental observation is just simply observing yourself, like kind of like you're flying a drone next to your life. And you're just like, oh, that was interesting. I wonder why I did that. Isn't that funny that I thought that at that moment? So it's taking captive, what thoughts am I thinking repeatedly? What emotions am I dealing with regularly?
Right.
And by dealing with, I also mean pushing back.
Because that's a form of dealing with.
That's a form of dealing with.
Is avoiding.
Yes. So what emotions am I dealing with? And often it's going to be anger, sadness, fear. Those are going to be really, really common ones. Shame is in there too. And what behaviors are serving me and what are not.
So something we talk with our team about, like the first key is awareness, right? How are we talking to ourselves? And we talk a lot about positive affirmations, negative self-talk, and how that affects us. And we talk about it a lot in the workplace, but obviously at home as well.
Yeah.
What do you do once you do start becoming aware? That can be very uncomfortable when you're not used to that and you start to become aware of maybe a behavior or a thought pattern or something. What do you do with that then?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say you do have to be very brave to do this process.
Yeah.
This is not a process that
It's not for the weak.
no, and it requires so much humility and honesty that's why I always start with like, it's non-judgmental. Like, we are not judging the thoughts. We are not judging the repeated patterns that maybe are sabotaging us.
Right.
It's
But
just
they're
awareness.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're there, they're there. And I think you mentioned shame sometimes too, is shame and guilt. Like, we can feel guilty for like even having a thought or having, and but I think that's the thing, is it's non-judgmental and nobody knows but you. I mean, this is self-reflection.
Yeah. The thing with emotions is they are not good or bad. Like, many times when I'm talking about anger or fear or shame, you know, people are like, but I don't want to acknowledge that I'm angry a lot. And it's like, well, anger isn't good or bad. I mean, anger gets things done. Anger changes the world.
Absolutely.
Like, anger brings justice to the world.
Yes.
Sadness and shame make us vulnerable and connective in relationships, and fear protects us. So they are not bad or good emotions. They are energy in motion in our body. And so what they want is to be noticed.
Yep.
And they want to be acknowledged, and they want to be processed. So once you notice some of these things, you have to go with what's true. Because if your thoughts are often a liar, your thoughts are often not telling you the truth.
Right. And we're hard on ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have this, we have an inner critic, most of us, and it'll say, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this well enough. So-and-so's doing it so much better than me. I could never take that role. I could never, and it's like, okay, those are actually not true.
Right.
So just asking ourselves, is this true, is actually a super great place to start.
I love that, because we get so cut, especially with social media. The perception of what somebody has or somebody does or somebody is, I feel like people absorb that and they make that their own, or they carry somebody else's everything, right? And really looking like, what is true? What do I know? And how does that affect me? That matters, right? Like, how does that affect me? It doesn't. So why am I carrying it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you have to be brave enough to have the honest, productive questions. So that's the only way to get through the thought patterns, is you got to be willing to sort of talk back to your thought pattern and go, okay, what's the truth? And what are the questions that actually would move me towards productive behavior?
Right. Right.
If there's a thought pattern that keeps coming back to you, that's like a worst case scenario. So some people really struggle with worst case scenario thinking, and it's they want to protect themselves. So they're thinking of always thinking 6 or 7 outcomes that could be anywhere from a little bit bad to like really, really bad. And so at some point that serves its purpose for, a moment. And then it's time to go, all right, but what's the best case scenario here? And flip it.
I love that. We're not taught to flip it. We're always taught to go worst case scenario. You hear that all the time. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that can happen? Will I die? Like that's what we're taught to say. Well, no. Okay. Well, how does that serve us? I love that. What's the best case? I really like that.
Yeah. What's the best thing that could happen here?
Yeah.
And so it's just getting honest and productive with that. And then with the emotions, again, honestly, emotions, I say they really just want to be noticed. Yeah. Like they're running energy through your body. Emotion, energy, motion. So.
Oh, I love that too. Emotion. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So it's energy in your body. Yeah. It's in motion. And it really wants you to just go, oh, hi there. Yeah. Sadness. Hi there, fear. What do you need right now? And then they go away. You process through them, and they don't keep haunting you because you've acknowledged them.
So many times, and I know I've been in this before, is I think about a situation and I don't think about necessarily the emotion. It's like I can't let go of the situation, but it's really I'm not letting myself process through all the emotions, right? Because the situation may bring all these different things: sadness, guilt, anger, fear, all of those things. And it's hard. I mean, that's the process of grief in there too, right? Yeah. But you go in there, and I have a therapist that I'll see, and each time I find I get stuck on a situation and not necessarily the focus on the emotions.
Right, because we are thinking, feeling, and doing. We are gut, heart, and brain creatures. And so we have to use all of the information. You know, I coach people in business a lot, and I say you would never, ever make a huge decision with only 33% of the information.
No.
Right?
Never. No.
Even 66% of the information would probably not be your go-to. So we have to use all three centers to make good decisions, to process through situations.
Yep.
They are not isolated to just this. It's thinking,
that
feeling,
makes so
doing.
much sense. I think too, like I do a lot of yoga. I have a very strong yoga practice, and I think about some of this stuff because sometimes I'm very focused on myself during yoga, and it's a time for some of the reflection of some of these things. Well, let's take some of these other questions because we have these other three questions. Like, how does that? How do we use that during our pause as well?
Yeah, and actually, here's a little easy to remember way to ask the four questions.
Yeah,
it's who, why, what, with.
Oh, I love it. Who, why, what, with.
Yeah. That's how I remember them.
Yeah.
Who, why, what, with.
Okay.
So the rest of the questions, you know, we could dig them down, but they all have to do with purpose and intention. So it's knowing that your life has a bigger, broader purpose on it than simply
this task,
this task, or this P&L sheet, or the sale of this business, or whatever it is you're looking towards in your work. Your purpose encompasses that. Sure. But it also encompasses so much more. So it's around like being in touch with what you want. I love this quote, that your purpose is not the thing you do. It's what happens in other people when you do what you do.
Oh, I do love that.
Yes. So good.
I love that.
So your purpose is not the thing you do. It's what happens in other people when you're doing what you do. And so becoming more aligned and more intentional around, am I leaving something in the room behind me that outlives me, that is a good legacy for people, that is, yes. And then being really intentional with planning how you want to spend your days, which comes down to how you want to spend your hours. Absolutely. Right? And who you want to spend them with.
Yeah. So, business owners, we get so absorbed, and, you hear all the time business owners that have missed chunks of their children's lives because they've been working, they've been building a business, they didn't have time to go to this event or to be at home for dinner or to attend a family vacation or something like that, right? Because we had all of this to do, and it gets you so out of balance. And you look back, there was something that, it was years ago, I heard this or read this, but it said, there's not a single gravestone out there that said, I wish I would have worked more. Right? And so when we think about these four questions that we're talking about and the awareness and the reflection, I think so many times business owners find themselves held hostage by their business. They feel trapped by their business. They feel that if I just work tonight, I'll be able to finish this up. But then that happens the next night and the next night and the next night. Burnout is so common. And so I think this is so important. Like, this really resonates with me because I'm by nature, like, I'm a worker, right? And I enjoy my work. I enjoy what I do. And so I don't always think about it if I'm at home and I'm sitting on the couch and I have my laptop and I'm kind of working while it's there. But, my husband might say something and I'll be like, hang on one second. And I've completely just pushed him off. You know what I mean? But you think about all of these things and that awareness, like, how do I want to spend my days? Do I want to look back and say, my husband and I didn't have any meaningful conversations in the evening because I pushed him on? No, when I think about it like that, it seems ridiculous. Right. But how do you actually put the laptop down and be present with the people that you love? This is a struggle for so many people, myself included. So I get it, because there's always more to do. But if you keep that purpose and intention in front of you, like you're talking about, then I think that awareness of like, oh, there I did it again. I just brushed him off so I could answer another email. And also just setting the boundaries around how you're going to spend your day. There will always be more work to do. Always, no matter what. Now, we could also say that's housework, that's any type of work. Any kind of work. There's just always more to do, but there is not always more time. That is a resource we don't know
how
much we have
left.
Yeah.
Or how much the people we love have left. So I think, and you have such a great platform here to, interview business leaders, but I believe that the healthiest business leaders are living from a place of balance where they are balancing.
Yeah.
Yes, my work is important, but so is my health. So are my relationships. And
Right.
I found myself in that place of burnout in my mid 40s where I was overweight and burned out and had no energy for my family. And I just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. And suddenly I was like, well, 3 people died actually in my life.
Wow.
Not all at the same time, but
Yeah.
3 deaths within 18 months. And I just thought, what am I doing?
What are you doing? Yes.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
And that is what began the shift for me. And I hate that it took that kind of a wake-up call, but I'm also so grateful for it. I don't do this perfectly. And I think the first thing we have to do is let go of we're going to do it perfectly.
100%.
sure.
And there's going to be times, anytime you're starting something new and say you've never taken a pause for yourself, and say you do it one day and then you forget about it and you don't do it for a long time. And you'll remember when you get to that point of breaking again, right? But I think as we're developing new habits for ourselves, we have to give ourselves some grace too. That exactly what you said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this perfect timeline, or it doesn't have to be this many minutes. It doesn't have to be in this location.
Nope. Yep. No, none of that. Just the intentional practice around, maybe if you do your pause in the morning, like you guys talked about planning your day, knowing I think this is really good. Begin the mantra or the affirmation of, I am a person who stops working at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., whatever. Make it whatever you want to make it for you.
4 p.m.
But whatever. But I am a person who shuts down work and spends time with people.
I like that. It's building a new identity for yourself. It is.
It is. And so practicing saying those statements over yourself as if they're already true.
Yeah.
That can really be helpful. We just have to be careful around perfectionism. And again, my experience is that when these pauses become a part of your rhythms, you will not want to not have them. They will become so valuable that it will be
right.
No wonder I'm a mess at work. I haven't had time for myself. And so I got to make that happen this weekend or next weekend, next Monday or whenever it's going to be. It's got to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I've heard from other business owners too, that they feel guilty if they do take a pause, especially if it's during what would be a work day, right? And so they feel guilty about taking that time away. And as a business leader, and I cannot stress this enough, as a business leader, you said it earlier, we can only serve others as well as where we are right now, right? And so we're really serving others by taking that time for ourselves. Yeah. It doesn't have to be 16 hours, right? It's those little pauses to just take a time out, take a deep breath, ask yourself one of these questions, right? And it may depend on the day and where you are and where your head is in that moment of where your mind's going to be. Yeah. I know sometimes, and it's so ridiculous, but say I've got a client who's upset about something, right? And they send me an email. In my mind, I'll dwell on that email and I'll dwell on it. And it's okay, I just need to take a minute, process through it. I need to understand where this came from, how it's affecting me, how my response will affect them, how it'll affect my team. You know what I mean? And sometimes even for a pause for something that's it's encompassing me. Yeah. And then to okay, let me just stop and work through this and process this and then go on.
And then let it not fester any longer. Yeah, that's a great example of a pause that
a quick little daily pause
could happen, in the middle of the day, and you go, okay,
I need to stop
when
for just a minute.
Feel that angst getting too high, it's time to do something. Yeah, that's so good.
It's a long time ago, I started a gratitude journal practice. And so it's kind of, I've a morning routine. I've got a pretty strong morning routine. It has changed my life. It's really changed my life to just it's an hour to myself, and it's how I go. But there is 20 minutes of reflection in there. And it sounds so fluffy to say something like it's changed my life, and it's hard to describe. Like, it just does. It just works. And I can't stress the importance of taking that time for yourself and just trying it and believing. It's kind of like you said, like, how do you know? Like, it just does.
It does. And, for that, I just would say, we all know the reticular activating system, like the RES, where if you buy a red car, suddenly you see your red car everywhere, right? It's just tuning your brain to what, you have. So when you start with gratitude, of course it changes your life, because now your reticular activation system
gratitude
is looking for all of the goodness and things to be grateful for throughout the day. So it does. And I bet you didn't notice it changed your life the first day.
Oh,
maybe it took a few times. And that's what I'm saying with these pauses, is like, for anybody that's going, I don't have time for that. That must be, I can just hear somebody going, oh, must be nice. Yeah, sure. They can do it in their business, but I could never do it in mine.
Right.
And I would just challenge them to keep detailed notes of what they did, what they thought of, things they processed through, and look back on them a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, and notice how it has impacted business. It probably has.
Right.
Well, I know for sure it's impacted the team that
100%.
you work with.
Yes.
Because having a leader who cares about their own soul means that they care about the people they work for. If you don't care about you, you really don't care about the people that work for you.
And you can't fake that.
Nope.
I don't care. You might think you can, but you cannot fake that. I'll tell you some of the feedback that I've had from my team is that I'm more patient. They feel like I listen and I hear. And I think it's because I'm not so wrapped up in like everything for myself, you know what I mean? Or like everything for myself or whatever, but it's just like, I've got that space now. I think that's a great way to say it. It's like, I've got space really for other people where I was just running ragged before and I didn't have that space. I pretended like I did.
Right.
I verbally said I did, but I really didn't. And it's just kind of like you said, you think you can leave all of this behind, but you can't, and so it's there. But I've had feedback from my team on like, man, if this would have happened 10 years ago, you would have handled it completely differently than how I respond now.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that react versus respond that we talked about. So tell me a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go into that bigger pause for a minute. I want to talk a little bit. You've got an intermission cohort.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that. Like, what does that mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It's my favorite thing ever.
I'm excited to learn about it. Like, I want it to be my favorite thing. Yes.
It's really, really fun. So can we go back to the fact that, again, theater kid, such a theater nerd.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed was that, why is it in theater that there's always an intermission? Like in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, some super long movies maybe make an exception. People have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But intermission is more than about concessions and bathrooms. Right? It is because there has been a story in Act 1 that has been developed. And then during intermission, the audience has a chance to kind of absorb what's happening and become emotionally connected to it, to wonder what's coming next. Like, it's serving a pretty big purpose within the story arc.
Okay.
And then you come back for Act 2 and you kind of get the conclusion.
You're re-engaged, like you engage really quickly too. Like in Act 2. Yeah.
Because you've had like this minute to absorb.
Yeah.
Well, what I do with women, and I keep the cohorts at 12 women maximum.
Okay.
We go to some wonderful place like warm Arizona in February.
Oh, it's one of my favorite states.
I know. We go somewhere fabulous and we have a kickoff retreat where we work on identity. So we would get really, really clear about the who am I question.
Okay.
And, I use the Enneagram as a tool for that, but we use other things too. And so we get really clear on like, this is who I am. And then we write our life purpose statements while we're on retreat together. Wow. And my father was a wonderful business owner for so many years. And he did this with all of his employees, but we write this purpose statement together while we're on retreat. And then when we come back from retreat, we meet together for 6 months virtually over Zoom.
Oh, man, that's incredible. So it's not just like, hey, we're here together for a few days and then like, see ya, have a nice life.
No, so these friendships that get started then continue on together. And then in the course of the following months, we work on the piece of intention around what relationships need repair, what relationships need more investment.
Sure.
What relationships do we need to end, release?
Yeah.
What relationships do we need
release
to release?
Release is a better word.
Yeah. So we work on the intention around relationships, and then also just what do we want to do with the rest of our lives? Like, how do we want to take this purpose, come back to our families, our businesses, our futures, and just get really intentional about what's next for Act 2. So it's called intermission because it's like we applaud Act 1 and we look at our stories and we say, thank you for Act 1.
Yeah.
And then we get really intentional about Act 2.
Do you find that a lot of people participate in one of these cohorts individually, or do they come like as say a spouse, like a team, friends? Like what's your recommendation, or do you have a recommendation on that?
I have seen it work both ways. So I have some friends that come together. Yep. It's for women age 45 to, I don't know, 59.
You did mention it's for women. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And, so I have friends, cousins actually that have come through, and then also people that didn't know a single soul. And I love that. I know. And so and I'm aware of that. We meet ahead of time. And so I'm able to hopefully help that facilitation be a little easier to walk in the room. But I love the accountability of going through it with a person that you know. But I also love the courage that it takes to go through it on your own. So I don't know that I have a strong feeling either way. It's just, I can see the advantages.
I could say like, and this is just me thinking, but I think the one hesitation that I would have about doing it with somebody is that, do I feel like I can be my true, honest self with that person?
Yes.
Or would my purpose be a little different because of what they might think or something like that? And so that would be one thing that I'd say maybe think about, right? If
For sure.
Yes. So if somebody was interested in attending the intermission, how do they register? How do they move
we're
forward
going to link it in the show notes.
Okay,
and
perfect.
so that's good because but they could just go also to my website at livingwellbyjen.com/intermission. So they can find me on socials. They can find me on my
Anywhere
website.
to reach out and
if someone reaches out to me, like I read everything. It's me. It's not like a chat bot responding to people.
Okay.
So
it's not AI Jen.
Nope, it's not AI
It's
Jen.
human Jen.
It's actually me. So anybody that wants more information about intermission, they could look in social media or on my website or just reach out to me in Messenger.
Something that I will say, it's not the same thing at all, but what I would call a life-changing event for me. I recently, just fourth quarter of last year, I went on a backpacking trip, and there were 9 women total, and I knew about half of them.
Okay.
And so to do something like that where there's no cell phone, there's no, like you're going and you feel very vulnerable when you go and you try something new, and there's all these different, it's challenging in so many different ways that you've never experienced. It was life-changing is what I would say. And so thinking about like doing something alone, I mentioned the thing that I went to Lake Monroe for a couple of days, and I've done some things alone, and it's just, I don't know, it's so fulfilling. And I think, and some of it's hard, and you do work through some emotions that you don't, but then you're by yourself. And so you feel like you're in a safe place to be able to do that, or to be with other women who are going through the exact same thing. My very best friend, I remember when she's a couple years older than I am. And when she turned 40, she was like, man, suddenly I just don't care anymore about some of the things that I cared about. And a lot of it was like other people's opinions. And I feel like you get to that, like, especially in your 40s, I found the same thing. And moving into your 50s and things like that, it really, so you might call it a midlife crisis or whatever, but I was like, I think you do enter, like, it's time for Act 2. I love that. Like, I love that. Like, it's time for Act 2. This has been great. It's served me well, or maybe it hasn't served me well, Act 1. You never know. But what can I do with Act 2? I love that.
Yeah, it's really, and I will just say, spending time alone, like what you just mentioned, there is a sense of getting to know yourself again. I do think, especially in midlife, when maybe we've put so much of our identity into other roles that we have.
Sure.
Whether it's as a business owner or as a partner or as a mom or as a caretaker for parents, or, we just do so much and our identity gets kind of pulled outside of us.
Sure.
And so to come and to spend time on your own and alone, it's like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah. You know what? I've always enjoyed your company.
Yeah. And if we can get to that level of self-assurance, I always say I'm not really looking for self-confidence necessarily. That word has stopped being as appealing to me as self-assurance.
I like it. Yeah.
It just feels a little deeper.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's more of knowing, like, I'm comfortable with who I am. Like I
know who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable here. Yeah. And I know my blind spots, and I won't do it perfectly, but like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the goal. So yeah.
I love that. You know, we always, we'll kind of wrap up a little bit today, but they always say too, when you think about in business, you think about the team that you're leading, and the number one reason people leave a job or their place of employment is because of their manager or their lack of leadership. It's not money. It's not schedule. It's not any of those things. It's who they work with. And so thinking about the type of leader that you are and who you're attracting and who, you know what I mean? Because I think that's the other thing too. Something else that I'll say is when we've really kind of shifted, we attract a different type of person into our team than what we used to.
Isn't that interesting? I love that.
It is. And it's that energy. You look for people who have like positive energy and who add to the team and bring and everything. And it's amazing then what you can do together as a team when you get to that point and you all have that awareness. Yes. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I love that you're able to look at that data for yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool that you've
life-changing.
Yeah, it's just really cool that you've been able to like look at your own journey and go, I see how things have shifted because I've spent the time, the investment, the time I didn't think I had, to spend my hour in the morning pausing to do some larger pauses like your hike. I just think that's so beautiful how you can actually see the difference in your business. That's really cool.
It does. It just happens. Well, Jen, I tell you what, thank you for being here today. I've loved this conversation and you are such a light. And so thank you for being here today. I love that. Go check out the intermission cohort, Living Well by Jen. That's her website. Of course, you can find us here in the notes, social media, all of the good things. Well, thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. And I'll see you next time on the Lasting Business Solutions podcast.